Hello people! Imagine being stranded on an island with dozens of people and not a single one speaks a language. No words, no grammar, just silence. How would you survive? How would language even begin? This question has puzzled philosophers, linguists and anthropologists for centuries. In today's video we are exploring some theories on it and what would happen on this little island. First off, Herder's theory. One of the earliest theories comes from Johann Gottfried Herder, a German philosopher from the Age of Enlightenment. Herder proposed that language evolved out of necessity. Humans needed a way to communicate for survival, whether it was coordinating a hunt, warning of danger, or sharing information about the environment. This need for communication, Herder believed, was the spark that ignited language. The Bow Wow theory. Herder's idea overlaps with the first major theory of language origins, the Bow Wow theory. According to this theory, early humans began mimicking the sounds of nature, especially animal sounds, and these imitations eventually became words. For example, in Vietnamese, the word for cat is meow. The origin is pretty clear, it's an imitation of a cat's meow. On our island, there are two brothers, Ming and Ling, who discover cattle grazing on the western side. Now Ling notices them making a sound and repeats it. Moo, their first word. The Pooh-Pooh theory. Another theory is the Pooh-Pooh theory. This one suggests that the first words were emotional expressions or exclamations. Think about how we instinctively say ouch when we are hurt or when we are frustrated. In the earliest days, these instinctive sounds might have evolved into more complex communication. Ling and Ming went further and one of them stepped on a pointy rock. Aye! Their new sound for help, I'm hurt, maybe eventually pain. The ding-dong theory. The ding-dong theory makes a slightly more abstract approach. This theory suggests that words came from humans imitating natural rhythms or sounds in their environment, not just animals. For example, the word ding-dong itself might mimic the sound of a bell. Proponents of this theory argue that humans found symbolic meaning in these sounds, which eventually gave rise to language. Maybe the brothers saw a river and heard the water hit some rocks. Splish, splash, splush. Next is the Yo-Yo theory, which links language to human cooperation and work. This theory suggests that rhythm of collective activities, like hauling heavy objects or rowing a boat, produced sounds that became the foundation of language. The brothers tried crossing the river but didn't want to get wet. One tried lifting a log, making sounds like huh, huh, huh. The other one pointed at another log and gestured lifting while repeating hoo, hoo, hoo. And they lifted a bigger log together and got across the river dry. Lastly, we have the Tata theory. This idea proposes that language started with gestures that imitated actions, and those gestures were imitated with, well, the tongue. Imagine waving goodbye and saying Tata as a child. In this view, early humans may have turned hand movements into accompanying word, which later developed into full-fledged words. All of these theories might in themselves be true, though they assume that humans would automatically link sounds with meanings. There are quite a few theories that debate how such a mechanism of linking an arbitrary symbol like a sound to a meaning could come to be. A major problem is the lack of truthfulness in language. If you laugh because you're happy, then that's a 100% true reaction. If you say LOL, it is difficult to verify that you are in fact happy. As humans and other primates tend to compete, there needs to be a certain source of trust between the speakers for language to emerge. There are a few theories that either parent-child relations, so-called reciprocal altruism, a co-evolution of language with rituals or tools, or the freeing from ingrained social constraints might be the catalyst for early language. I will imagine the humans in our scenario to all be trustful and trusting to a degree. And as even monkeys use different grunts and shouts to communicate the emergence of different enemies, like snakes, birds or big cats, and as chimpanzees can differentiate food by making sounds, I will assume that a certain mechanism for connecting a sound to a symbol already exists in at least adult humans who have lived in a society before. How these words became sentences with grammar, that's for the next episode. Let's go back to the island. Ming and Ling gathered some words by the end of the day. Moo, ai, splish splash, hoo hoo, though only they understood them, but there are other people on the island and eventually they all met in one place. It took some time as the island is quite big, so some of them are already settled inside their family-sized groups. The people all understood the need for cooperation and communication in this absurd situation. They were all put on a deserted island by a giant tortoise with a strong German accent. Some of them began creating primitive tools, some pointy rocks on sticks. The need arose to communicate the difference between different rocks: pointy, big, small, flat. As mentioned before, one theory for language creation involves a co-evolution of language and tool-making, as both making tools and word generation use similar parts of the brain. So maybe there were some words stemming from this activity, like Kiki and Buba for pointy and round, or Wa and Au for big and small. As you see, I try using gestural and onomatopoeic origins for all words, but in the end these are arbitrary symbols. They could use anything. On the other side, there might as well be a bunch of names or calls developing in this time. Many animal species use specific names to call each other. That's why I used Ming and Ling, simple and one-syllabic names, using the most frequent sounds across all languages. Where these names come from, I'd say random babbling. That's why the word for mom and dad, mama and papa, sounds so similar across the world. The child's babbling is interpreted as names for parents or for the child itself. Now imagine a mother with her child, a little boy. Sometimes he wanders off into the distance and wants his mother to get him, or maybe the mother is looking for him. Babies make a lot of noises, as you know, and this child tends to cry "Na" when missing his mother. The meaning of "Na" I translate it as "Help, please pick me up and change my diapers, it's dark and cold and I'm scared and hungry and sleepy." The mother answers and assures the little one by imitating the "na" in a lower tone. To calm it, maybe it sounds more like "no" to you. Over time, you can see it becoming a simple question-answer mechanism, allowing a good fine and a bad danger answer. Then again, some unique calls for different situations might develop. A snake might be "na, super dangerous," and a tortoise might be "no, a slow, good animal." Though for now we'll just keep "na" and "no." I think it's time to wrap up the early languages' first developments. They picked up using a bunch of words which I can't explain in detail, but take a look at the screen right now. You can find a list in the description that I will add continuously to. There are words for actions, animals, objects in nature, and so on. Oh, and these humans are all geniuses, by the way, otherwise this would take too long. So they also already made their first fire. I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you haven't, as there will be a follow-up video soon. Ta-ta!